this live stream of the budget with the Libertarian Party of India. I have Tushar with me, and I'm Anup Zombie. And what we are going to do is we are going to uh, see things as they unravel today. Also, we are going to kind of give an look at this budget and see what what can be done from the libertarian perspective as well. What can be done that can improve things, that can make things better. What better policies can we put in place to and yeah, so for also on our stream, this on X and on YouTube as well. So head over to those channels, just drop in your comments, and then we will take it from there. Good morning, Tushar. How are you? And what are your expectations, overall expectations of the budget today?
Well, I keep repeating myself. I say that it will disappoint both the optimists and both the pessimists.
Oh, okay,
So it will
so
be so it will be mediocre as usual. There will do bits and pieces changes, and then the bits and pieces they will take away. So in balance, it would amount to next to nothing.
I mean, like, I tend to agree with that in the sense that what have we seen in previous budgets? Like, what has been the actual, has there been any
What
major changes
what
across
have
the
we
previous
seen in
budgets?
previous budgets? Like what has been so most of the budgets have been basically about what is the budget basically. Basically, budget is basically about the government's income and its government expenses. So always every year in recent history, the government income has been lower than its expenditure. So the Keynesian logic that is given is that since we are a developing country, the government expenses will be definitely higher than government income. So this has been the general trend of the budget. Our deficit has grown year by year, and this nonsense term of a percentage of GDP, as in the government owns the entire GDP, and government has some claim to spend on the behalf of the entire GDP. So this nonsense Keynesian statistic is rolling around all the time. So the previous year, the budget came out, and they made major changes in the government revenue stream. Major tweak was in the direction of capital gains tax. So short term capital gains tax. First of all, capital gains tax didn't exist 10 years ago. Now they introduced capital gains tax, and in addition to capital gains tax, they have been increasing it year by year. So in previous budget, they introduced the capital gains tax. They raised the capital gains tax from 10% to 12.5% for long term and 15% to 20% for short term. So they are slowly they are moving in the direction of increasing it more and more. And that crooked communist finance secretary keeps on finding new and new ways to uh, harassing the public and inviting greater loot for. Yeah, so invites keeps inviting greater loot for the government. So this is the scenario that we are facing. And next next what are the major expenditures of the government? So the major expenditure of the government are in defense infrastructure, employee salaries, and then agriculture, then subsidies and all. So
Right. Sorry, I was just. People are asking where the link is and all of that, so I was just getting that sorted, before we actually hit the budget. Um, yeah, so in an example, like for example, the capital gains tax as such, how much is it affecting people? Like in in what ways are they really getting affected? Is how is their progress in general being stopped with this particular tax that has come in?
See, first of all, the clownery of the entire system is that first of all, the corporation that employs you pays taxes. Then your salary, you have to pay tax on that. Then if you buy something, then you have to pay tax on that in form of GST. So you are already triple tax. Whatever you earn is already triple taxed. And then even if you smartly invest some money, then you have to, then you are taxed on that as well. So where does the common man go? I mean to say, if you are smart, you are punished, and if you are foolish, then you are facilitated.
Yeah.
So this is the clown system that has been built. So what can we and all sort of pop outs are given that, oh, we are a poor country, oh, we need welfare, oh, government this that. That's entire nonsense. Uh, this simply shows that you are just power brokers for the masses rather than being actual leaders of the masses. So this is one type of cop out. And additionally, talking about how much should the government be spending, it is very little talk about that. Most of the government spending actually ends up uh, doesn't actually go to growth as much as it goes to salaries and keeping the system alive. So very so this is where the liberty and let's take the most prominent example of the defense budget. That is that is concern for everyone. Oh, we need to have strong defense for the country. Yeah, that is fine. We need strong defense, absolutely. So most of the defense budget doesn't go into R&D or weapons development or developing the defense infrastructure. Most of it goes into the salaries and pensions of the defense employees and maintaining the cantonment system and all. So what we really it, our system is more has always been more about show than actual stuff. So more about show than actual substance. And each year the sentiment strings of people are pulled so that they get emotional about things and just ignore the blatant theft that they like theft is going on in the name of serving the country. Yesterday they were thinking of the idea of shifting the name of changing the name from of tax from uh, some
Yeah.
country development fund or something. I don't remember. So it was some
Yeah.
ridiculous terminology. Yeah. So this is the swindling that they are doing, and country development is basically babudam development. They get richer year by year, while our GDP per capita just crawls up slowly, and uh, it is both funny and tragic at the same time that people fall for such shenanigans. And see,
Yeah, it's like even our education system. When you do well in school, you are actually rewarded with like a lot of accolades and awards and stuff like that. But when you hit the real world and you do well, you are in for a shock. Like there's going to be a lot of things coming your way, a lot of harassment, and life isn't easy. As people think, oh, you're rich, so your life is easy. I don't think it is. It is that easy for a lot of people, right?
see, easy in terms of relative material well-being, but it seems all right. But even if you don't want to come across as greedy or something, but
Right.
definitely those who aren't in the government employment sector, definitely things are way tougher for them as compared to those who are in the public sector.
Right. What about like now? What can we expect out of MSMEs and manufacturing? What has been done over the years, and is it actually helping everybody in the industry? What is going on with this aspect of the industry itself?
See, MSMEs are supposed to be the sort of backbone of the economy, uh, and they have given some GST relief for MSMEs. But the problem isn't they face a different set of challenges that the government hasn't addressed. So MSMEs aren't that much suffering on the GST front as much as they are suffering on the harassment front. So anyone who starts some new business or something like that, and it starts to take off, immediately the predators come in and start asking for a percentage cut or some bribery or something like that to keep the system going. Otherwise, I will ground your system to the halt and things like that. So these are the sort of day-to-day things that raise the cost of operations, and additionally cronyism. So whether if some greater body gets interested in your field, so basically the entire system, he lobbies the babudam, and babudam just swipes you away from the system, and you are left wondering that what did I do wrong, and so MSMEs, see, because they cannot bribe the babudam enough, which is really expensive to be bribed. Uh, they
Right.
end up uh, they end up bearing the cost of all the regulations, and the sector has, in the stock market, usually small cap companies perform better than large cap companies, but in the babudam, large cap companies perform way better than small caps because of the all the all the after paying up all the babudam, you are left with the real with the very little money to actually do research or expand operations. So that's why Gurgaon is such a good case study, that since there was only one point of contact that you needed to bribe to build in Gurgaon, it became such a marvel of city. So basically, each step in the chain add makes the system slower, and MSMEs, since they cannot bear the cost of going up the chain higher and higher, so that's why most MSMEs never end up becoming large, and the government has never done anything to address it, and they don't seem to be addressed. And since they seem to be in the cahoots of the large enterprises, they don't want the status quo changing. Which see, talking in real politic terms, it doesn't make it makes absolute sense that large players would want to keep the status quo going. But this is where libertarianism comes in. That we know that crooked people are there at every level of the society. How do we balance things in such a way that even if they do their crookery, the system doesn't get harmed that much. So that's why we need to slash regulations and get as much power out of the hands of Babudum as much as possible. Because if they don't have the power to do anything about it, bribery won't work. See, if bribes would be fruitless because it is simply not in their domain to do anything about it. But right now, since everything under the sun is in their domain, they are everything, they can be bribed for to do everything. So basically, everything is legal in India, just with the price. There is nothing illegal as such.
Right. So basically, labor-intensive manufacturing, right? I mean, is there what is the current state of it, and like what exactly are they planning to improve with respect to labor and such in India?
There was some wave of labor reforms done. The farmers' protest and labor reforms were done simultaneously in COVID. So the labor reform, there was some protest, but it didn't get much traction. But farm laws got all the traction, so labor reforms were swept under the rug. But we still basically talking in terms of people's sentiments and why they go gaga over labor reforms, is that they feel that, oh, poor workers will be exploited, and oh, we need to protect the poor. Yeah, all right. The sentiment is apt, but what Thomas Sowell was put this quote that all the T-shirts that we was asked this question, that all the T-shirts that we use are made in sweatshops in Bangladesh. What do we do about it? So Thomas Sowell asked the question that, fine, now what alternative do they have? other than working in sweatshops? Going hungry.
Okay. Yeah.
So you need to think in terms of that's why right to education was right to education may seem like a good legislation, but the second order effects have been much more devastating. We have curiously we have skill shortages, we have unemployment and labor shortage at the same time. How is that possible?
Right.
So labor reforms, and it is also I would like to interject the story of how. Union Carbide was Union Carbide the Bhopal gas tragedy was created much more by union interference and all the harsh labor codes that existed rather than as much as is the blame of the company. Much more blame goes to the management system and the union thuggery. That see, simple operations as tightening a screw was ensured that it didn't go to it didn't get mechanized, and there was some special individual who would pull the plug up and pull the plug down and things like that. So basically, they were creating artificial jobs under the name of labor protection, and we have moved a bit better in that direction, but no. Basically, Luddites and communists are soulmates, and they try to tame civilization down as much as possible.
Right. So, also, what about agriculture and rural development as such? There's a lot of talk about it. There are a lot of different schemes around it. So, is this actually helping? And if it is helping, how is it helping, or how can things be a little better than what it is right now?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
The About agriculture and rural development. So there are a
The
lot of
budget does anything.
apparently they're going to propose something this time, but rural development they have been talking about a lot of things. So any thoughts on that?
See, we have 75 years track record of it being a colossal failure, and I don't see that where one step would change something drastically. They tried to do some a sort of a big leap reform by the farmer reforms, but nothing much happened, and it basically the farmers in Punjab, Haryana, and Western UP bullied the government to submission, and they took the hit. And someone was saying under the guise of because they were precarious about things spiraling out of control and whatever. The point was that basically the government buckled down, and so we have an institution called NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, that is supposed to address these issues. So it is flushed with cash, and it definitely works on problems like cooperative farming and building up cooperatives, enhancing the financial inclusion and things like that. So the problem isn't in the scheme front as such. What problems that they face? The problem isn't in the scheme front as such that the schemes are bad in their own. The problem that is faced is the lack of talent that is able to execute those schemes. So, all these, let's suppose bureaucrats are talented. Let's suppose they are talented. To a certain extent, they are. They aren't bad people. The system the system incentivizes predatory behavior. That is a different thing. But let's suppose that they aren't bad people. But still, the scope of their powers are much larger than any individual can competently handle. And what happens in the rural areas, and why farmers cooperative and such initiatives never succeed, which are the only way out for solving these problems. Why they never succeed is because uh, of lack of leadership talent. So there's something called we are a low trust society. Although I don't agree with the terminology, but still, uh,
All right, I think Tushar, the big moment is here. I mean, I think the budget is about to be presented. Should we take a look at that and see what's happening? Uh, I think Nirmala Sitharaman is taking the stage right now.
yes, yes.
So maybe we will. Yeah, maybe we will.
बजट के बाद राज्यपाल अभिभाषण में आपको पर्याप्त अवसर दूंगा। मेरा आपसे निवेदन है। नहीं,
people are screaming inside the.
आपने संसद की
Are people screaming inside?
कभी बजट भाषण
Yes, yes.
Protest?
इस तरीके का नहीं
Obviously.
हुआ। ये उचित नहीं है।
Wow.
ये उचित नहीं है। अखिलेश जी, प्लीज, मैं आपको मौका दूंगा।
What do you think is the reason behind this, in the sense that, you know, I don't think this has happened like in many budgets, right?
I think they are just grabbing attention. It is
राज्यपाल अभिभाषण पर चर्चा होगी। 9 तरीका।
Wow.
Honorable Speaker,
It's
it
like
is
a
just an attention seeker.
It's like the Coldplay concert in the.
this budget continues our government's efforts to A.
Has she started
accelerate
talking? Or
growth,
is this old?
B. secure inclusive development, C. invigorate private sector investments, D. uplift household sentiments, and E. enhance spending power of India's rising middle class.
Rising middle class.
Together, we embark on a journey to unlock our nation's tremendous potential for greater prosperity and global positioning under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi.
Wow.
As we complete the first quarter of the 21st century, continuing geopolitical headwinds suggest lower global economic growth over the medium term. However, our aspiration for a Viksit
I wish they wouldn't
Bharat
scream,
inspires
though.
us,
You know,
and the
they can always share
transformative work
opinions later.
we have done during our government's
and be
first
civil
two
about it.
terms
You know what I mean? Like
guides
at the end of the day, it
us to
is being
march forward
presented. So
resolutely.
that is a slightly sad thing, actually.
Our economy is the fastest growing among all major economies. Our
Is that true?
development track record for
Are
the
we the
past
fastest
10 years and structural reforms have drawn global attention. Confidence in India's capability and potential has only grown in this period. We see the next 5 years as a unique opportunity to realize Sabka Vikas, stimulating balanced growth of all regions. The great Telugu poet and playwright Gurujada Apparao had said, Deshamante matti kadoy, Deshamante manushuloy, meaning a country is not just its soil, a country is its people. In line with this, for us, Viksit Bharat encompasses zero poverty, 100% quality good school education, access to high quality, affordable and comprehensive healthcare, 100% skilled labor with meaningful employment, 70% women in economic activities, and farmers making our country the food basket of the world. In this budget, the proposed development measures span 10 broad areas, focusing on Garib, youth, Annadata, and Nari, spurring agricultural growth and
Indian version of DEI.
building rural prosperity and resilience, taking everyone together on an inclusive growth path, boosting manufacturing and furthering Make in India, supporting MSMEs, enabling employment-led development, investing in people, economy, and innovation, securing energy supplies, promoting exports, and nurturing innovation. For this journey of development, our four powerful engines are agriculture, MSME, investments, and exports.
Well, there are people leaving.
The fuel,
Tushar, there
our
are people
reforms.
leaving
Our guiding spirit,
Leaving the
inclusivity,
premises. They're
and the
actually
destination,
shutting
Vikasit
down right
Bharat.
now.
This
you
budget
lower the
aims
voice? I
to
cannot hear
initiate
properly.
transformative
sorry.
reforms across 6 domains.
Yeah, so there are people actually leaving the area. There was a short scene where there were just a lot of people just leaving the area.
See, I cannot comment about it this too much because I have seen people throwing chairs at each other in the Taiwanese parliament, and they are as high tech and sophisticated as you get. So I think
Yeah,
it is the nature of
I
democratic
get
politics.
that. Yeah. So even in New Zealand, the Maori tribe, they did their show of strength as well in the form of their cultural sort of display of art. And yeah, I guess it happens in South Korea. I think they beat drums or something
Yeah.
like that to show their protest.
Yes.
So
So it is the nature. The democratic politics to a large extent works on grabbing attention. So nothing
Right.
unique about it.
Right. So what did you think so far? A lot of lofty things being said about the, like again, she's talking about major developments in agriculture.
The script never changes. They they will repeat the same script. India is the fastest growing economy. India, agriculture, women, all the DI, the Indian version of DEI that they have created. All these things will be repeated. Some percentage point improvement in the budget, some tweak here there, and nothing really attacking the core of the problem. So let's hear further.
Wow. Sure.
So that migration is an option but not a necessity. The program will focus on rural women, young farmers, rural youth, marginal and small farmers, and landless families. The details are in Annexure A. Domestic best practices will be incorporated, and appropriate technical and financial assistance will be sought from multilateral development banks. In phase 1, 100 developing agri-districts will be covered. Atmanirbharta in pulses. Our government is implementing the National Mission for Edible Oil Seed for achieving Atmanirbharta in edible oils. Our farmers have the capability to grow enough for our needs and more. 10 years ago, we made concerted efforts and succeeded in achieving near self-sufficiency in pulses. Farmers responded to the need by increasing the cultivated area by 50%, and government arranged for procurement and remunerative prices. Since then, with rising incomes and better affordability, our consumption of pulses has increased significantly. Our government will now launch a 6-year mission for Atmanirbharta in pulses with a special focus on Tuar, Urad, and Masoor. Details are in Annexure B. Central agencies such as NAFED and NCCF will be ready to procure these 3 pulses as much as offered during the next 4 years from farmers who register with these agencies and enter into agreements. Comprehensive program for vegetables and fruits. It is encouraging that our people are increasingly becoming aware of their nutritional needs. It is a sign of a society becoming healthier. With rising income levels, the consumption of vegetables, fruits, and Shri Anna is increasing significantly. A comprehensive program to promote production, efficient supplies, processing, and remunerative prices for farmers will be launched in partnership with the states. Appropriate institutional mechanisms for implementation and participation of farmer producer organizations and cooperatives will be set up. Makhana board beat these videos. The board will provide hand-holding and training support to Makhana farmers and will also work to ensure they receive the benefits of all relevant aimed at 1. Strengthening research ecosystem, 2. Targeted development and propagation of seeds with high yield, pest resistance, and climate resilience, and 3. Commercial availability of more than 100 seed varieties released since July 2024. India ranks second largest globally in fish production and aquaculture. Seafood exports are valued at 60,000 crore rupees. To unlock the untapped potential of the marine sector, our government will bring in an enabling framework for sustainable harnessing of fisheries from Indian exclusive economic zone and high seas, with a special focus on the Andaman and Nicobar and Lakshadweep Islands. For the benefit of lakhs of cotton growing farmers, I am pleased to announce a mission for cotton productivity. This 5-year mission will facilitate significant improvements in productivity and sustainability of cotton farming and promote extra long staple cotton varieties. The best of science and technology support will be provided to farmers. Aligned with our integrated 5F vision for the textile sector, this will help in increasing incomes of the farmers and ensure a steady supply of quality cotton for rejuvenating India's traditional textile sector. Kisan credit cards facilitate short-term loans for 7.7 crore farmers, fishermen, and dairy farmers. The loan limit under modified interest subvention scheme will be enhanced from 3 lakh rupees to 5 lakh rupees for loans taken through the KCC. For Atmanirbharta in urea production, our government had reopened 3 dormant urea plants in the eastern region. To further augment urea supply, a plant with annual capacity of 12.7 lakh metric tons will be set up at Namrup in Assam. India Post, with 1.5 lakh rural post offices, complemented by the India Post Payment Bank and a vast network of 2.4 lakh Dak Sevaks, will be repositioned to act as a catalyst for the rural economy. Details are at Annexure C. India Post will also be transformed as a large public logistics organization. This will meet the rising needs of Vishwakarmas, new entrepreneurs, women, self-help groups, MSMEs, and the large business organizations. Our government will provide support to NCDC for its lending operations for the cooperative sector. MSMEs as the second engine. Now I move to MSMEs as the second engine, which encompasses manufacturing and services with a focus on MSMEs numbering 5.7 crores. Currently, over 1 crore registered MSMEs, employing 7.5 crore people, and generating 36% of our manufacturing, have come together to position India as a global manufacturing hub. With their quality products, these MSMEs are responsible for 45% of our exports. to help them achieve higher efficiencies of scale, technological upgradation, and better access to capital. The investment and turnover limits for classification of all MSMEs will be enhanced to 2.5 and 2 times respectively. This will give them the confidence to grow and generate employment for our youth. The details are given in Annexure D. To improve access to credit, the credit guarantee cover will be enhanced. First, for micro and small enterprises from 5 crore to 10 crore rupees, leading to additional credit of 1.5 lakh crores in the next 5 years. Second, for startups from 10 crore rupees to 20 crore rupees, with the guarantee fee being moderated to 1% for loans in 27 focus sectors, which are important for Atmanirbhar Bharat. And for well-run exporter MSMEs, for term loans up to 20 crore rupees. Also for the micro enterprises, we will introduce customized credit cards with a 5 lakh rupee limit for micro enterprises registered on Udyam portal. In the first year, 10 lakh such cards will be issued. Fund of funds for startups. The alternate investment fund, AIFs, for startups have received commitments of more than 91,000 crores rupees. These are supported by the fund of funds set up with the Government of India's contribution of 10,000 crore rupees. Now, a new fund of funds with expanded scope and a fresh contribution of another 10,000 crore rupees will be set up. A new scheme will be launched for 5 lakh women, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, first-time entrepreneurs. This will provide term loans up to 2 crore rupees during the next 5 years. The scheme will incorporate lessons from the successful Stand Up India scheme. Online capacity building for entrepreneurship and managerial skills will also be organized. Measures for labor-intensive sectors. To promote employment and entrepreneurship opportunities in labor-intensive sectors, our government will undertake specific policy and facilitation measures. To enhance the productivity, quality, and competitiveness of India's footwear and leather sector, a focused product scheme will be implemented. The scheme will support design capacity, component manufacturing, and machinery required for production of non-leather quality footwear, besides the support for leather footwear and products. The scheme is expected to facilitate employment for 22 lakh persons, generate over 4 lakh crore rupees, and exports of over 1.1 lakh crore rupees. Measures for the toys sector. Building on the National Action Plan for Toys, we will implement a scheme to make India a global hub for toys. The scheme will focus on development of clusters, skills, and a manufacturing ecosystem that will create high quality, unique, innovative, and sustainable toys that will represent the Made in India brand. Support for food processing. In line with our commitment towards Purvodaya, we will establish a National Institute of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship, and Management in Bihar. The institute will provide a strong fillip to food processing activities in the entire eastern region. This will result in 1. Enhanced income for the farmers through value addition to their produce, and 2. Skilling entrepreneurship and employment opportunities for the youth. Manufacturing mission, furthering Make in India. Our government will set up a national manufacturing mission,
Muted, can you?
small, medium, and large industries for furthering Make in India by
What?
This is basically the government trying to do things that the private sector is supposed to do. You are, first of all, you are burdening India Post, which is as an inefficient organization as they come. They are savings banks. They are making some logistics hubs out of it, and now all these basically we are increasing credit. So you are intervening in the credit market. Now you're saying that India has become some manufacturing hub. When the total production is hardly 500 billion, and basically you are using money to hide your mistakes, and there has been no mention of that we will be cutting regulations or things like that. And you are just using money by increasing all these credit demands, and this 10,000 crore government budget of for startups. What can 10,000 crore even do? We are competing with companies who are raising hundreds of billions of dollars, and you are thinking that 10,000 crore commitment by the government will make some difference to India.
Yeah, and it's just over 5 years or something. It's not.
Yeah,
like
and
it
whatever
is-
they are just using what sort of daylight crookery is going on in the name of it? Let's go on. I will come.
Yeah. So there's a lot of. Okay, one second.
5 years to cultivate the spirit of curiosity and innovation and foster a scientific temper among young minds. Broadband connectivity to government secondary schools and PHCs. Broadband connectivity will be provided to all government secondary schools and primary health centers in rural areas under the BharatNet project. Bharatiya Bhasha Pustak Scheme. We propose to implement a Bharatiya Bhasha Pustak scheme to provide digital form Indian language books for schools and for higher education. This aims to help students understand their subjects better and in their language. National Centers of Excellence for Skilling. Building on the initiative announced in the July 24 budget, 5 national centers of excellence for skilling will be set up with global expertise and partnerships to equip our youth with the skills required for Make for India, Make for the World manufacturing. The partnership will cover curriculum design, training of trainers, and a skills certification framework and periodic reviews. Expansion of capacity in IITs. Total number of students in 23 IITs has increased 100% from 65,000 to 1.35 lakh in the past 10 years. Additional infrastructure will be created in the 5 IITs started after 2014 to facilitate education for 6,500 more students. Hostel and other infrastructure capacity at IIT Patna will also be expanded. Center of Excellence. Center of Excellence in AI for Education. I had announced 3 centers of excellence in artificial intelligence for agriculture, health, and sustainable cities in 2023. Now a center of excellence in artificial intelligence for education will be set up with a total outlay of 500 crores. Expansion of medical education. Our government has added almost 1.1 lakh undergraduate and postgraduate medical education seats in 10 years, an increase of 130% In the next year, 10,000 additional seats will be added in medical colleges and hospitals towards the goal of adding 75,000 seats in the next 5 years. Daycare cancer centers in all district hospitals. Our government will facilitate setting up of daycare cancer centers in all district hospitals in the next 3 years. 200 centers will be established in 25-26 itself. Strengthening urban livelihoods. Our government has been giving priority to assisting urban poor and vulnerable groups. A scheme for socio-economic upliftment of urban workers will be implemented to help them improve their incomes, have sustainable livelihoods, and a better quality of life. PM Swanidhi scheme has benefited more than 68 lakh street vendors, giving them respite from high-interest informal sector loans. Building on this success, the scheme will be revamped with enhanced loans from.
Right.
See,
What do you think so far? Yeah.
now they're saying that we will do this, they have been harassed by private sector. See, this is why I talk about that RBI needs to be shut down. It creates artificial interest rates. See, interest rates are determined by time preferences. Those who are not, basically people prefer the short-term over the short-term games over long-term games. Naturally, this creates a time where this is a concept in Austrian economics, basically. So this is why the interest rates will never be zero. Basically, you can borrow. Basically, you can there is an opportunity. The basic point is that interest rates will never be zero, and the interest rates are determined by market conditions. And RBI is artificially determining what the interest rates of all across India should be. So what ends up, although some may say that others banks are free to move and up and down, but there is definitely a range set for interest rates to operate. So basically, banks may recover some of their money from states that are well governed, like states that are well governed. But in misgoverned states, they lose their money, and the default rate is much higher. So basically, they are trying to paper over using financial instruments their failures in governance. There is no mention of how they are increasing the budget for improving law and order and all the judiciary and all things like that. But these things are easy to do, and everyone needs to realize that all these budget increases are coming out of your pockets. Not they aren't paying for it.
Right.
These increments are coming from your pocket, and all these 10%, 15% increments eventually will be hurting you rather than actually benefiting anyone else. And they will definitely be reaping the benefits of all of this because their salaries will increase, they will get better infrastructure. So basically, those who are in the government will definitely enjoy the services. But those who are outside of it, they will just be looking outside through the wall and thinking that I paid for it, but I can't even enter it. So let's go on.
Sure. I mean, like, in a sense that it is such a major hoodwink that, like, regular people just don't get it. Like, they don't get that they are the ones paying for everything. It isn't really, paying for a business model where they are never going to see returns. So let's say I put money into a stock market, whatever percentage of my salary or whatever it is, it kind of can give you some money back over time, or you put it into your own business. But this is something different. People are continuously giving money, but there is actually no direct return on these things, right?
Yeah, definitely. Now they're saying that they are giving social security for gig workers. This wasn't your job. This was the job of insurance companies to give them social security. Why are you getting involved in this?
It is an opportunity to make money, I suppose, right? So that's kind of where everything is.
Basically, the government is one large, monstrous insurance company for most of the people.
Right. I think they are on a break right now, so I think we can talk about what else did you see in the budget that budget presentation that caught your eye? I mean, there's still no relief for the taxpayers yet. We don't know if that's coming, but
my biggest impression was that this is basically the government acting as a large crooked corporation, which is trying to do things that the private sector is supposed to do, and just wants to take credit if something goes right, and want to raise budget if something goes wrong. So this is basically the approach that they are following. That failures are because lack of funds, success is because of our competence. So this is my broad impression, and I think we also covered the point that let's start with agriculture. So agriculture, we will be saving farmers from interest rates, and nothing on the innovation front that how can how the why is the Dutch farming and Israeli farming so innovative? Because research institutions and farmers cooperate with each other very well, and there is a good feedback loop that results in increasing productivity and innovation. But nothing like that. Nothing like that mentioned. Now talking about medical institutions, we have doubled the capacity. Really, when the baseline is so low, doubling capacity doesn't make much of a difference. There are millions of students have to pay crores to private colleges to get a medical seat. I mean to say, the problem should be that why we don't have enough skilled doctors. The problem shouldn't be that we cannot train enough skilled doctors. They are creating scarcity on the supply end.
right.
That's absolutely tragic. That we have to. There is intervention in the medical doctor supply market of. Basically, they have by limiting the number of seats that they have artificially created a scarcity of well qualified doctors who could have been trained well. But now who could have been trained well, but due to the large expenses that are associated with getting the training, now have to either leave the country to get the education or have to pay exorbitant amounts of money to get the degree. So this is a grave tragedy going on. That you are basically depriving people of doctors just to get credit for that you have done something about it.
Yeah, people are even willing to go to like non-English speaking countries or like learn a completely new language just to get be a doctor, right? Like even China, Philippines, like whenever I find medical students there,
you are missing Ukraine and Russia.
Ukraine and Russia, yes, right. And that has been happening for a long time now. At least Russia has been happening for years.
During the war, most of the students that came back were from medical background.
Right.
So, yeah, the point is that you are creating artificial scarcity, and then you are saying that we have doubled the capacity. Double the capacity from what? 10 colleges to 20 colleges. That is a big deal.
Yeah. So, what do you suggest, propose as solutions to these things, really?
The solution is quite simple. Get rid of FSI. Let there be really tall hospitals. And secondly, get rid of all these nonsense regulations. Let the private sector operate, and at all cost, ban rent seekers in this enterprise. Let private competition operate freely. Don't let rent seekers come in who set up their, like these politicians and bureaucrats who set up their own colleges and start charging exorbitant amount of fees. Don't let that happen. Let private sector competition operate. Get those who are willing to get medical education and who are willing to go through the apprenticeship and training. Build programs in such a way that they don't have to go through the expensive machinery that requires millions in investment. Build some cheaper version and sleeker version that is equally effective. Giving a simple example, those who are apprentice in dentist offices, they don't get any licenses or all, but definitely they go back to rural areas and practice minor operations and things like that. So I'm not saying that things like that should be done in for really complicated things like surgery and all, but definitely there can be some devolution that simple procedures can definitely be learned via on a faster rate and by a less cheaper alternative than this one full swoop of the system that we have right now. Additionally, what is not talked about is the rampant rate of drugs prevalent in medical institutions. So this shows that what are drugs symptomatic of? Drugs are symptomatic of that individual is trying to avoid reality. So there is definitely something crooked going on in the system that medical students in well-to-do colleges are indulging in drugs. And additionally, going back a step further, in the pipeline that they are preparing for the entrance results, the problem shouldn't be that we won't get any good college, or the problem should be we won't get good colleges. It shouldn't be that we won't get any college. And this dichotomy of government and private, and government artificially lowering the prices or private artificially jacking up the prices, this is creating huge problems in our market. And you complained about low per capita availability of doctors. You are creating the distortion that is resulting in creating the lower per capita availability, and you are to blame for it.
Right. So, in terms of like the private businesses, at least for them to raise billions of dollars when the talent is in India, I don't think it is that difficult, right? I mean,
yes.
It is just that this particular, because they could, like multiple companies can raise billions and billions of dollars from different countries, including, could be anywhere, Singapore, UAE, US, Europe, wherever it is. It can be easily achieved even in the same domain competing frameworks. But at the end of the day, here we are seeing like it's almost pittance, right? Oh, 20,000 crores or, something.
Yeah, first of all, the infrastructure, the things that you build are really expensive to build. So, and then you quote paltry number, you quote numbers that seem big to the normal public, but in reality amount to nothing.
Right, and also I don't know why businesses aren't being more vocal about this. You know what I mean? Like there is a huge opportunity for all of them to like kind of band together and push this industry up on their own. But I don't see many businesses really, I mean, they do understand it, that's for sure. But, they don't seem to be bothered with actually educating different areas about this. So what is going on with that front?
Basically, they are trying to do a job. The government is trying to do the job that it isn't supposed to do. These politicians just want the credit that I did falana things. I would say every libertarian would be I get it why libertarians are disappointed and don't engage in Indian political discourse, because the fundamental assumptions are really different.
Right.
Okay, they are talking about
it live?
Yeah, they are talking about
a special focus on destinations related to the life and times of Lord Buddha. Medical tourism and heal in India. Medical tourism and heal in India will be promoted in partnership with the private sector, along with capacity building and easier visa norms. Investing in innovation. To implement private sector-driven research, development, and innovation initiatives announced in the July budget, I am now allocating 20,000 crore rupees for this purpose. A deep tech fund of funds will also be explored to catalyze the next generation startups as a part of this initiative. In the next 5 years, under the PM Research Fellowship Scheme, we will provide 10,000 fellowships for technological research in IITs and IISc with enhanced financial support. The second gene bank with 10 lakh germ plasm lines will be set up for future food and nutritional security. This will provide conservation support to both public and private sectors for genetic resources. We will start a national geospatial mission to develop foundational geospatial infrastructure and data. Using PM Gati Shakti, this mission will facilitate modernization of land records, urban planning, and design of infrastructure projects. A Gyan Bharatam mission for survey, documentation, and conservation of our manuscript heritage with academic institutions, museums, libraries, and private collectors will be undertaken to cover more than 1 crore manuscripts. We will set up a national digital repository of Indian knowledge systems for knowledge sharing. Now I move to exports as the fourth engine. We will set up an export promotion mission with sectoral and ministerial targets driven jointly by the Ministries of Commerce, MSME, and Finance. It will facilitate easy access to export credit, cross-border factoring support, support to MSMEs to tackle non-tariff measures in overseas markets. A digital public infrastructure, Bharat Trade Net, for international trade will be set up as a unified platform for trade documentation and financing solutions. This will complement the Unified Logistics Interface platform. The BTN will be aligned with international practices. Support will be provided to develop domestic manufacturing capacities for our economy's integration with global supply chains. Sectors will be identified based on objective criteria. Facilitation groups with participation of senior officers and industry representatives will be formed for select products and supply chains. Through this, there are huge opportunities related to Industry 4.0, which needs high skills and talent. Our youth have both. Our government will support the domestic electronic equipment industry to leverage this opportunity for the benefit of our youth. A national framework will be formulated as guidance to states for promoting global capability centers in emerging Tier 2 cities. This will suggest measures for enhancing availability of talent and infrastructure, building bylaw reforms, and mechanisms for collaboration with industry. Our government will facilitate upgradation of infrastructure and warehousing for air cargo, including high-value perishable horticultural produce. Cargo screening and customs protocol will be streamlined and made user-friendly. Reforms as the fuel. Over the past 10 years, our government has implemented.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? She's saying that we will streamline the cargo, cargo supply chain, we will streamline. So she is automatically admitting that for 10 years they have been creating artificial roadblocks they have been creating, and it isn't streamlined yet. So
Oh, wow. So we have some comments on the stream. So someone's asking, why Real News Dog is basically asking, why is the Indian government's infatuated with Buddhism? Like, what is that about?
see, Buddhism is a part of our major part of our history. So government, I don't know, maybe I think this government is majorly taking inspiration from Ashoka and maybe trying to do something about it. Or maybe they are trying to appease some faction or something like that. Because nothing is, their ideology is to get re-elected. Their motive is to get re-elected, and they will do anything to achieve that. Maybe they are trying to appease some group.
Right. So Dhruv is also asking, why is the uproar on IIT Patna? They're calling high interest rate informal sector loans. They're calling high interest as informal sector loans is his thought process. So what do you think about that?
Sorry, I didn't get the question again.
Why is the uproar on IIT Patna? Did we hear anything about that? Okay.
No, I think we missed that part. Can you
Yeah.
comment in detail what exactly was being talked about?
Sure. Dhruv, if you're on the live stream, do send in a bit more details about your questions so that we can we can get that answered as well. Yeah, so we can continue on with what's happening now. What do you think is happening now? Let's just take a quick listen.
C processes, the revamped central KYC registry.
Oh my God! Again, more KYC, more. What do you think about these systems where we are letting an entity know so much about people? I think we are up
See,
for some real manipulation.
I won't
Yeah.
criticize KYC outright, because
Right.
there is some function that the government can do, and cooperation is definitely one of them. Basically, what ends up happening is that why are high speed rail more expensive in California than in China? So since you have to convince each county and you have to get permission of all these different entities for land rights, so the process slows down a lot. And while in China, land rights are really loose, you can coordinate, you can acquire land really quick and start building. The bullet train project isn't struggling because of technology, but much more because of land acquisition process. So this cooperation function of the government is somewhat relevant to, somewhat beneficial, and somewhat worth the cost. Because basically, if you have different entity, even in the foundation of the the US from its foundation was really decentralized. I mean, it was decentralized to the extent that a state could put tariffs on the next state. So the New York could put tariffs on Philadelphia. It was to that level decentralized. So what ended up happening was that the states started quarreling with each other, putting tariffs on each other, and the system became whole messy. And all the founding fathers were like, we didn't fight for this stuff, and we need something better. That's when they decided, let's form a constitution and bring some order to this shit. That's where the Federalist Papers came in and all the things like that. So this coordination of function of the government is really important to keep to keep a complex system functional. Otherwise, each individual follows their own direction, and basically the sum isn't able to become the greater than the part of the. Basically, what is that quotation that the sum is greater than the part, something like that. So that one ek aur ek 11 basically. That doesn't happen if we are highly decentralized. So this is where the role of centralization comes in, and KYC is an extension of that. KYC has definitely speeded up the business process a lot. There are some kinks in it, and definitely the privacy concern is there, but definitely some benefits have come out of it. You need to move in the direction of increasing privacy while not reducing the cost.
Right. Okay. Someone just messaged in that one of the streams is not working, so let me just give it a quick check. And yeah, I think they are working. Okay, so all right, Ralph, it's the stream is actually working. You just probably need to just refresh your browser.
No, it isn't showing here on YouTube X as well.
Oh, it isn't showing. All right, so let's restart the stream again. I'm going to just stop this.
No, now it's working.
No?
Now it's working fine.
Working,
now it's
right?
working fine.
Okay, it may be some basic network issue.
Yes.
Oh, let's listen to what's going on now on the live stream.
Best estimate of the total expenditure is 47.16 lakh crore rupees, of which the capital expenditure is about 10.18 lakh crore rupees. The revised estimate of the fiscal deficit is 4.8% of the GDP. Budget estimates for 25-26. Coming to 25-26, the total receipts other than borrowings and total expenditure are estimated at 34.96 lakh crore rupees and 50.65 lakh crore rupees respectively. The net tax receipts are estimated at 28.37 lakh crore rupees. The fiscal deficit is estimated to be 4.4% of GDP. To finance the fiscal deficit, the net market borrowings from dated securities are estimated at 11.54 lakh crore. The balance financing is expected to come from small savings and other sources. The gross market borrowings are estimated at 14.82 lakh crore rupees. I will now move to Part B. Indirect taxes. My proposals relating to customs aim to rationalize tariff structure and address duty inversion. These will also support domestic manufacturing and value addition, promote exports, facilitate trade, and provide relief to common people. Rationalization of customs tariff structure for industrial goods. As a part of comprehensive review of customs rate structure announced in July 2024 budget, I propose to, 1, remove 7 tariff rates. This is over and above the 7 tariff rates removed in 23-24 budget. After this, there will be only 8 remaining tariff rates, including 0 rate. 2, apply appropriate cess to broadly maintain effective duty incidence, except on a few items where such incidence will reduce marginally. 3, levy not more than 1 cess or surcharge. Therefore, I propose to exempt social welfare surcharge on 82 tariff lines that are subject to a cess.
Tushar, I think let's restart
Shall
the
now
stream.
take up
Stream. I think people are facing issues with the live stream itself. So shall we do that, or I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, sure,
Okay.
we can restart. I think the stream stopped.
Right. Let's do that. All right. Okay, guys, we are just going to restart the stream. We'll see you back in a few minutes.